Okay, well, I'm sure by this point we've all heard of Expedition 33. Or at the very least, seen videos of it floating around online by now. And as someone that used to be a non-believer of it, I can say now, after playing it, that it's going to take home Game of the Year. Hello everyone and welcome back, my name's Argonaut, and in this video, we're looking at Expedition 33. Now, if you haven't played it before, I'm going to try to avoid any big spoilers and focus briefly on the development history, a little bit on the main story of the game, the gameplay, and why I think it'll win Game of the Year in 2025. And with all that being said, on with the video. Expedition 33 was created by Sandfall Interactive, an indie studio that was founded by a former Ubisoft developer named Guillaume Broche around 2020, that started as a passion project with people that he initially recruited online through sites like Reddit and SoundCloud. He believed that AAA companies were neglecting turn-based RPGs, and the game was made by a core team of 30 people, along with external contractors and studios doing things for development as well, such as voice acting, playtesting, and designing the animations, bringing the number up to the hundreds. Although people keep trying to frame it as only 30 people worked on the whole game by themselves, the game drew inspiration from popular RPGs like Final Fantasy and Persona, as well as Sekiro. And, after its development cycle, Expedition 33 was released on PC, PS5, and Xbox on April 24th of 2025, selling 3.3 million copies within 33 days. Man, we just keep coming back to that number 33 for some reason. It's like the Da Vinci Code.
Do you realize what this means?
Yes. Wait a minute. No.
For the story of Expedition 33, it involves people living in a town called Lumiere, which seems like a normal town at first, until you see that the town is isolated on an island and surrounded by a barrier. And outside the barrier is a being that they call the Paintress, who, once a year, paints a decreasing number on a giant monument that they call the Monolith, along with all of her monstrous creations roaming around the continent. Now, if you happen to be the same age as the number on the monolith, or older, you basically just die in what they call a gamage. Basically, you just go out Thanos style, if you're the same age or older than the number on the rock. Instead of just waiting around to accept their fates, the people of Lumiere begin sending out expeditions every year to see if they can find some way to stop the Paintress. Our main character named Gustav, who's also voiced by Charlie Cox,
What, the flower? Or Sophie?
loses his former lover to the Gromage, and, with only 1 year left to live himself at the age of 32, he sets off with other volunteers of Expedition 33 to see if they can find a way to defeat the Paintress. For the graphics of this game, Sandfall Interactive started off with Unreal Engine 4, but then swapped over to Unreal Engine 5 due to the advantages it had with character creation, and I must say honestly, from my point of view, the game actually looks pretty good. The only thing that I ever find myself having a problem with is some of the characters' hair. It's kind of animated a bit weird and will crop through them, or hang a little bit stiff and awkwardly, but overall it's just a really small thing to look past. And now, for the music of this game, it was composed by, forgive my pronunciation, Laurent Testard, a French composer living in San Francisco, who the game's developers found on SoundCloud. And boy did he do a good job. I mean, listen to some of the tracks in this game. I'm willing to bet a ton of people that played this game have at least 2 songs saved on their Spotify, and I'm also willing to bet that both of those songs happen to be over 11 minutes long. Personally, I have the whole album saved. It's just that good. The gameplay for Expedition 33 is such a breath of fresh air from other traditional turn-based RPGs. The best way to define it just has to be freedom. I'm not going to go into every part of the battle system, so as not to spoil everything, but as you already know by now, it's a turn-based RPG, but unlike traditional turn-based RPGs, whether your character dodges any incoming attacks or not is all on you. You can study the enemy's attack animations or the sounds that they make, and based off of that, with a tap of the circle button, that'll let you dodge attacks. Sounds simple, right? Well, it's not always as easy as you think. But once you do start to learn enemy attacks, it'll go from saying dodge to perfect on screen. And once you start consistently getting perfects, then it's time to start parrying. Instead of dodging, parrying lets you essentially deflect an enemy attack, and if you fully parry an enemy's attack successfully, then your character will deal a counterattack as well as gaining something called AP, which is basically your mana system in this game that lets your characters use their special moves. Speaking of the special moves, you can also decide which moves your characters knows, and you're able to switch them out with any prior moves you've learned at any time. Can you just imagine if a game like Pokemon did this? You can gain AP when it's your character's turn, or when you use a basic attack, when you parry, among other circumstances, and your AP resets after every battle, so you never need to feel as if you need to conserve it for after the battle. Honestly, same with all of your potions, revives, and elixirs. They get refreshed at every save point, so you never encounter that issue where you make it to the end of the game with a ton of items that you hoarded throughout the game. Don't lie, I know that you do it. On that note, each character in the game has a unique playstyle, making it less likely that you'll kick any of them to the side as you unlock new ones. And every time you level a character up, they gain 3 attribute points which you can put into strength, speed, defense, luck, or HP. Even if your original party gets wiped, this game does something that I'm sure that we wish a lot of our other RPGs did. And it lets you use your backup characters for a second try, which is another thing that encourages you to not keep them underdeveloped. The last thing that I want to talk about in the gameplay section is Lumina. Lumina are basically items that you can obtain throughout the world, whether from buying them or winning them from difficult boss battles or exploring dungeons, and they give your character a minor ability as well as some form of stat boost. After fighting in battle long enough with Lumina equipped, your character will then master that Lumina, meaning that any character, if they have enough points, can learn to use that Lumina without actually having to equip it. And this can lead to some devastating builds for your characters as you go forward. And it also gives you a huge amount of customization. The way that you keep your characters and the way that somebody else keeps their characters will most likely never be the same. And I mean, I've seen crazy people out there actually deal 1,000,000 damage in this game. Now, here are my thoughts about it. Expedition 33 offers a unique gameplay loop with a ton of customizability, along with putting decisions in the player's hands. I mean, you can defeat a level 50 boss while being only level 5 if you're good enough at parrying. I mean, it'll also take you forever since you do, like, no damage and one hit will end you, but you can do it! It also has a great story that doesn't overstay its welcome by making you play a 100-hour story, like some other games I'm not going to mention. And it's up to you as the player to decide whether you want to explore the lore more and get to know personal details about the characters more, or you could just say screw it and keep pushing forward with the main story. Not to mention the music is so good, it'll have you stopping mid-battle just to listen to the track. Although it's not perfect, I personally did think that there was one major downside to the game, and this is just my personal gripe, but it's the fact that there's no surrender button. After a patch post-release, the devs gave you the ability to retry immediately after you lose, but they didn't give you the ability to retry when you're mid-battle. And you know what I mean, when you're mid-battle and you already know it's lost, but then you have to keep going anyway, it basically forces you to play it through until you die. But again, this is just a really small gripe in an otherwise great experience. In conclusion, Expedition 33 is a work of passion that shakes up the RPG formula, while at the same time keeping it close enough to what we're familiar with, creating a really fun experience, with a ton of customization that also leaves a lot of control in the player's hands. And, to top it off, the game is only $49.99. While I originally bought this game solely just to see what all the hype was about, now, after playing it, there's no way I can see this game losing to anything else at the Game Awards. It's gonna clean house. Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you agree with my thoughts here, or disagree? If so, what game do you think will win Game of the Year? Also, if you like this video and want to see more like it, then feel free to click that subscribe button to keep up with the channel. I would really appreciate it. And, with that, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching.